been told y'all that fake conservative bullshit was done. What's up, Solutionaries? Maj 2 right here. Just saw a video of Jordan Peterson getting chicken Szechuan chopped the fuck up by some, I don't even know who this kid was, some random college student. Y'all know these conservative, fake conservative, because they're not really conservative. They don't really conserve anything. Y'all know they go sit down at these college campuses and chop it up. Charlie Kirk, the Ben Shapiro's, the Jordan Peterson now, the whole Daily Wire crew, the whole like Israel First Army, whatever. They sit down with a bunch of teenagers, college students, 20-year-olds, who aren't generally that sharp, and they go back and forth with them. But we just saw Jordan Peterson absolutely get fucking demolished around the concept of being a Christian. Now, I don't like the term grifter. I don't like it. I think that no matter what you do, somebody gonna call you a grifter. If you sell products, providing a service, free market enterprise, somebody gonna call you a grifter. If you give things away and fundraise, y'all know that we fundraise with our work at BGM and the Solutionary Lifestyle. Class has been free for years, but that's called a grift. So I'm always adverse to using the term grifter because I think people run terms into the ground. But this kind of fits a lot of these dudes. They jumped in on the Trump bandwagon. They was not really Trump supporters from the gate. They jumped in on the bandwagon, they saw it, Trump won. They rode that for his first term. They added no fucking value. Charlie Kirk and Turning Point added no value. Arizona, where they was headquartered at the time, went from fucking red to blue. So I'm comfortable in saying that they fit the definition of a grifter, or at least they don't really have an added benefit because they add more detriment than anything. But they go to these college campuses, they argue, and this fucking guy just chopped him up. You go watch it on your own, but he gets beat the fuck up. And this spells what I know at least I've been saying for however long. This whole thing about fake conservative just to own the left, not really conserving the Constitution, conserving the Second Amendment, the Bill of Rights, that's all a play. And the left has adapted and they are getting better than the so-called geniuses. That shit is over if you lose to somebody that's in college and you're supposed to be this smart guy. Man, he looked like he back on drugs. It just looks bad. It just 1000% looks bad. Now, usually what happens with these types of people, right? They get a following. They like artists, right? You put your whole life into writing an album, and your first album is absolutely magnificent. You might do a mixtape tour, you're innovative, you're creative, you're whatever, and a label shows up and says, we want to sign you. Now when you're signed to the label, you put the album out because you had your whole life to make this dope-ass fucking album. It's a classic album. Everybody loves it, but then the label says, you got to keep churning out the product. You got to keep churning out the product. And that's what we see with the Ben Shapiro's, the Matt Walsh's, the whole Daily Wire team. That's what we see with the Jordan Petersons. Now, the grift becomes more important than thought-provoking, genuine discourse. The first two books of Jordan Peterson was 1000% on point. Maps of Meaning, I think that's what the title is. I haven't read that in a long time, and that's a study. That's a study. And his first more mainstream book, Rules for Life or something like that, Order, whatever. Those two, maybe three, the follow-up to his second book, were good. Everything else after that is like you just got to put out the product. So the record labels say, put out the product, put out the product. We want you to just put anything out because you're hot right now. The problem with that is it waters down the product. It's not the same thought-provoking album, thought-provoking book, thought-provoking insert, whatever, because you're just putting it out for this. Then on top of that, they get 100,000 or however much they get to go from city to city to do these tours. So now you're trying to grab the bag everywhere. So you're not taking the time to really study, reflect, and create more thought-provoking, challenging things. Now it's just, unfortunately, that term that I don't like using, now it's just a grift. And that fucking grift is over. Because the left has stewed. Them college students are preparing. They paying attention. You've been a champion for however long. When you the heavyweight champion of the world, that Mr. T, oh, you Rocky, you sleeping on them silk sheets, he training. Them college students, them Marxists that y'all not even talking about, actual Marxists that try to infiltrate and continue to infiltrate on deeper and deeper levels, they go, when you punch them in the face with a win, or you the champion, they go study. While you out here talking about black people are horrible, while you pushing this narrative, and in the process of you doing that, now them blue-haired weirdos are now better at this shit. So your champions, right? You neoconservative champions, or who an entry-level person would think is a champion, the Charlie Kirks, the Matt Walshes, the whoever, people think that they're the champions because that's the entry level. Now they're getting beat up, and because that whole thing is done, they never were advancing anything legitimate, because once they got signed to the Daily Wire, got some money from whoever their lobbyist groups are, right? That said, go over here and touch the wall and do whatever. I don't care. I don't care if they got money from Iran. When they took the bag, they couldn't be as creative because now it's about churning out product. And now the Marxist students are sitting back, evaluating and busting their ass publicly. It was never a sustainable model. That's why there's so much throwaway music and movies in the entertainment industry. It wasn't about creating The Godfather or The Color Purple. It wasn't about really making America great again. It wasn't about the Constitution. It wasn't about limiting government. As we see with the Republicans and the GOP right now, it never was about being fiscally responsible, which is a part of political conservatism. Lowering the spending. It was never about that for these so-called influencers. And we've been telling y'all that for however long, but y'all didn't want to listen to us. When I made that CPAC panel, I've spoken right before President Donald Trump at the time at CPAC. It was me, then it was Trump, okay? The next year when they asked me to come back to CPAC, I put a bunch of conservatives on a panel that you should all have listened to. You go Google it and check it out yourself. That's the direction that we should have kept going, getting urban America involved, because that's exactly what Trump did. You see Trump getting gains in the urban demographic. None of these other conservative, so-called conservative pundits are doing it that way. And don't even get me started on the influencers. They say everything to undo the work that Trump has done, right, into the urban demographic. Trump doesn't struggle with getting the black vote, the brown vote, the Asian vote. You know why? Because every time on social media you turn around, he's not saying things that's like, black people are the problem in America. I was there at the White House when Donald Trump said, African Americans built this nation. I was there. I was there. But what all of these pundits do, they do things for engagement. It's the war on white people, as opposed to promoting unity. And they definitely not pushing for the Constitution. They don't even talk about it. The vast majority of content is rage bait, outrage bait, just like the left. And we've been telling you this for however long, and now the left pundits and them college students and the microphones have caught up. They've caught up, and they beating your so-called champions' asses. And this is exactly what we told you was going to happen. Now, we are solutionaries. How do we get the solution? Like I said, initially, they were groundbreaking because nobody was hearing from it. The Candace Owens and this, that, they were groundbreaking at the time. Sidebar, speaking of Candace Owens, her advisors advised her properly to pivot early. She got outside of all of that Daily Wire bullshit because she may have been listening to some of us. I've done Candace's show. Right? I've heard her talk behind closed doors. My point in saying that is she pivoted and got out early. Now, let me be very clear. This does not mean that she better not adapt again, because all of that conservative shit she talking as a married woman with children, she's still not a submissive stay-at-home wife. She's not. She's not. And that contradiction is just waiting to show up for her if she doesn't pivot soon. She's a boss babe. She's not a submissive conservative woman. She's not. So hopefully she can adapt there. But she saw the writing on the wall early because she was listening to and following and engaging with a different demographic. Y'all saw her rebrand. Whether it's authentic or not, that's a whole different conversation. However, she saw the rebrand and went, I'm going to fall back on the anti-black conversation. And she did. Not these guys. But the solution here is you come in innovative, you have to stay innovative. Do not just become a cog in the machine. Perfect example of this, Kai Cenat, Streamer University. He put out something saying that Netflix and Amazon tried to come give him a deal no, he put it on his platform. Still innovative, still has control, not being disrespectful to his actual base, to the concept of reaching more people. You have to stay innovative and stay out of the grips of the machine. All of the people that I just named, Con Inc., all of them, they took the money. Now you got to keep producing, put out however many shows. It's just basic bitch run-of-the-mill stuff. It is. It's not advancing anything, and it's not defending the Constitution. That's our solution. That's one of the solutions. If you come into this game and you're talking about limited government, conservative, liberty-based values, stay true to the concept. Don't sell out for the little bag. Don't sell your bigger vision and purpose for something in a reality small. Nothing's bigger than being legendary. You can always make money. You can't make the same level of impact once the world knows you've compromised your fucking values. So when you come in on a podcast, a television show, or whatever, and you coming from a limited government, fuck the government, tell the truth about the government, what the government's doing with foreign lobby groups and in other countries, stick to the script. Don't sell out. That's the first solution. Next solution is learn from the fucking moronic moves that the GOP does as it relates to every single time Trump gets in office or runs a campaign. 3 campaigns, makes inroads. One of those campaigns, they had to make a whole global pandemic to steal an election from him. That's what happened. You argue about it with your mom, I don't give a fuck. My point is, the GOP doesn't learn about how he does outreach. Trump makes inroads. The GOP in general does not, into demographics that you need to win an election. Showing up at bodegas all across the Bronx and it looked like a goddamn stadium tour. Trump doesn't talk that, oh, well, you know, the problem is the blacks. There are GOP candidates that actually are wasting their time advocating for Derek Chauvin to get a pardon from Trump. Trump has already explicitly said, I'm not interested in doing that dumb shit. Why the fuck would I? Never mind the fact that Chauvin got federal and state charges. Even if Trump gave him a pardon, he'd only get like 2 years off of his overall sentence because his fed and state time or charges or convictions are running concurrent. Never mind the fact that he pled fucking guilty. But does the GOP learn from that? Do the influencers learn from that? Absolutely not. So your job is to, when you're dealing with and engaging an urban demographic to get them in the libertarian, conservative space, don't be a fucking moron and make everything about race. Because that's their problem. And that's why they're losing not only to the left, the Marxists that's getting better, they also lose into the more extreme version of the far right. Because the extreme version of the far right, now we're talking about the Jake Shields, we're talking about the Nick Fuentes, we're talking about the Kanye West, we're talking about those extreme folks, right? The reason why they losing to them, because those people, as goofy as they have been at times, they didn't violate their principles. They got canceled, so they couldn't get the bag. So they had to stick to the script. They made their own island, okay? So not only are these so-called right-wing, so-called conservative pundits losing to the left, they also losing to the more extreme end of the punditry, you know, that I just named. Now, this does not mean that those guys are correct. Because those guys exist, but let's be fucking honest, they got bigotry and racism all in their fucking heart. Let's call a spade a spade. Everything is not fucking racist, but a lot of these dudes are. They are, and that's a part of the reason why they got so-called canceled. Free speech, you get to say what you want, but that does not mean people can't disassociate from you, right? And even those guys, even though they'll exist a little bit longer, they'll exist, same thing with the Candace Owens conversation and contradiction. She'll last longer because she pivoted earlier off the dumb shit, because as more people got involved in the conservative space, more people learned fast, just like the Marxists. And they was like, this basic shit. Y'all ain't even improve voter registration, right? So similar to those contradictions, the extreme groups, again, the guys that I named, right? And there's a bunch of them on X that just say all of the most racist shit in the world. Fucking morons. They'll stay around longer because they had to develop a different skin because they didn't get a bag of money. But the general public, the urban demographic that you need to win, is not going to fuck with them either. So they're just going to fizzle slower. Nobody in Black, Asian, Latin, Mexican communities wants to hear all of the punditry talk about every problem in America is the black people, it's the people that are immigrants. Nobody wants to fucking hear that shit. Even those people are not tied into the concept fully of Constitution, human rights. If you hear, you work hard, you an American in concept, they leading with their bigotry still, so they're gonna fizzle out a little bit later. Do not do that. That's the next solution. Do not go so extreme that you don't buy into the concept of liberty, justice for all. That's what America's actually about. But it takes a stronger mind to push back against a bigoted or racist narrative when it's to somebody else and your current in-group agrees with you. If somebody show up talking that white people are all devil shit to me, I check them right the fuck where they at. Just because I advocate for some issues that might be race-based like gun control does not mean that I'm okay with you saying that, oh, all of the whites are evil racist people. Get the fuck out of here with that. I actually live that constitutional, limited government, freedom and justice for all. So you have to apply that in your mix. If not, you're just going to fizzle slower, just like the extreme right-wing, so-called red pill alpha male fucks. Their contradictions just show up a little bit later than the goofball basic motherfuckers that I named from the beginning. That's it. Next, you need to embody, live, and link with people that are genuinely dialed in to the concept of fuck the state. The individualism of, is this a good person? Are they aligned with the Bill of Rights? Are they studying? Are they shooting? Are they developing skills? You need to build your nest team with a group of people that are going to push back against bigotry, that are going to be honest about their current reality, and work towards the American ideal that many of these fake-ass entry-level, Charlie Kirk, Matt Walsh, Jordan Peterson, basically the Daily Wire types, the basic level people, and the mids, the bigots, the Jake Shields, all of them X-Pages, Gunther Eagleman that just say all of the stupid, the comedian chick with the fupa, right? All of those people, they just mid. The higher level of intellect and actual limited government, liberty-minded conservative that's actually living that shit and is going to really push that bigotry and bias and malice out of their heart, those are the people that you have to create bonds and networks and work with and challenge each other. And that's why we created our private group with the Solutionary 9. There's white folks in there. There's black folks in there. There's Asian folks in there. There's Latin folks in there. It's Americans that want to genuinely limit government, improve themselves, their family, their community, and thus overall the nation based on legitimate viewpoints. Not everybody's cool except the teenagers. Everybody's cool except the whites. Everybody's cool except the blacks. That is the final form. Then you premium grade. That's when you become a solutionary. Those are the ways to push back against this narrative and not fail. Your contradictions based on your bias and your bigotry will fucking be exposed if you do not work towards solving them. And it's easier to call the contradictions on the guys that's fake Christians, fake MAGA, and really you kind of like aligned more with Israel, That's not difficult. That's the entry level. But if you want to evolve, join a linked minds of community and put the actual work in. You got to study civics. You got to know the Constitution. You got to turn yourself into a statesman or a stateswoman. You got to get in fucking physically good shape. You got to learn how to grow some fucking food. You got to know how to network with your neighbors. These are the things that we do in the Solutionary 9. If that's what you want to do and go in that direction, hit the link below. Give me 99 days. I will make you smarter. You will be in better shape, and you definitely will be a better shooter. You don't get better in those 99 days by strictly applying the Solutionary 9 daily. You keep access, I'll give you your money back. The link for all that's below. But the overall point here, y'all, is the days of the fucking fake grift, fake conservative, fake limited government, allegiances to other nation, bullshit people, those days are done. And anybody that disagrees with me, put it in the comments section. Because I know, Maj, you just don't like Matt Walsh because he made a video about you. Maj, you just mad that you don't go to CPAC no more. Whatever you want to say, put it in the comment section. Get something right, I'll agree with you. Get something wrong, Solutionary is going to chop you the fuck up. Hit the link, study, get better, improve, be safe, be solutionary.